In this video, I will be using group policy to deploy GIMP. I will use two different deployment methods. One is where we create a policy for the main computers, and then the computers install the software during startup. Another one is where we create a policy for the main users, and then the users themselves can install the software whenever they like. I will also use Wix to package GIMP executable into MSI file. I'm starting this video from my GitHub page, and that's because there are a few bits of information here that I will be using for this video, and I will leave the URL in the description down below. Also, in the bottom of the page you can find more of my videos that are related to this topic. For example, here you can find videos about my Windows Server setup if you're interested in that. Also, here you can find videos about extra group policies and settings that I'm using when deploying software using group policy, and also there are videos about Wix on how to install it and use it. And now I will begin this video by downloading GIMP executable installation of files, and for that I will use the link that I have here. That brings me to the GIMP download page. Here I will click on download GIMP directly, and then I will go to my downloads folder and wait for the executable. And now that we have the executable, we need to package it into a MSI file. And for that, like I said, I will be using Wix, and for Wix we need a configuration file. And I have the configuration files in my GitHub page right here. There is one called GIMP, and this is already finished configuration file that has all the values in it. You can check it out if you want to, but for this video I will be using this one called template. So I will click on it, and then I will click on the button right here to download the configuration file. I will go back to my downloads folder, I will right click on the configuration file, and I will rename it to GIMP. Then I will right click on it, and I will open it with Visual Studio Code. And as you can see, it's an XML file. Basically, it's instructions for Wix on how to package the MSI file for us. And here we mainly care about this part right here. Basically, we need to fill in the information that is specific to this GIMP package. First, we need to name our package, so I will name it deploy GIMP. Then for exe, we need to provide the executable name. And for that, I will right click on the executable that I have in my downloads folder. I will select the full name to include the extension because the extension is important, and I will paste in the value here. Then for the path, we need to provide the location where we currently have our executable, and for me it's my downloads folder, and my downloads folder is in my D drive, so I'll type D and downloads. Then we need to provide silent arguments, silent switches, because we want this installation to happen silently, and for that I will go back to the GitHub page, and I will copy the silent switches for the silent installation that I have here, and then I will paste it here. Now for the version, we need to provide a version number for this MSI package, and it's unrelated to the software version, but in most cases I like to keep the version numbers the same, so I will copy the version number from the executable file name and I will paste it here. Then publisher is not that important, but it's a mandatory field, so I will enter let's do automation. And then GUID, we need to provide a unique identifier for this package. And for that, we can use a command that I have in the GitHub page right here. And then open a terminal or PowerShell window, and I will paste it here. And as you can see, every time I'm using this command, I'm getting a unique identifier. And I will copy one of the values, go back to the configuration file, and I will paste in the value here. And that's basically it. We're done providing all the necessary information, and now we can use this configuration file to generate an MSI file. And for that, I will go back to the terminal, then I will change the location to where I have my configuration file, and like I said before, it's in my D drive downloads folder, so I'll type cd d and downloads. Now to generate the package, we need to type wix build and provide the configuration file name, and for me it's named GIMP, so I'll press enter. Then I will go back to my downloads folder and wait for the MSI file, and as you can see here, the MSI file was successfully generated, so I'll right click on it, select copy, and then I will go to VMware Workstation where I have my Windows Server environment. I will minimize the server manager for now, and I will move the executable to my desktop on my server. Now I will move this executable to a network share that is accessible to my domain users and computers. And for that, I will open File Explorer, and here I will type my file server name, so it's srv02. Here I have this software share, and in this share I will create another folder named GIMP. I will go inside of it, and then I will move the executable to this folder. And here you need to make sure that you have the correct NTFS and share permissions. For example, in my case, if I go to Properties, Security tab, and Edit, you can see that I have authenticated users with read permissions for my NTFS permissions, and I also have the same permissions for my share permissions. And authenticated users covers both users and computers in my domain, and with read permissions, that means that both of my users and computers are able to access the share and execute files from it. Anyways, you need to make sure that you have the correct permissions, so I will close everything here. And then I will go to my server manager because now we can start creating our policies. And for that, I will go to Tools, Group Policy Management. I will expand Group Policy Objects, then I will right click on it, and then I will select New. The first policy that I will be creating will be for my domain computers. It's where the software is installed during startup. And I will name this policy Assign GIMP, and then I will click OK. Then I will select the policy here, then I will right click on it and select Edit. And because this policy is for our computers, we need to go to Computer Configuration, Policy, Software Settings, and Software Installation. Then I will right click here, go to New and select Package. Here you need to make sure that you're selecting a file that is located in a network share, because it will allow you to select a local file, but the installation would fail when the computers would try to install the software, because they don't have access to this local file. And to access a file that is located on a network share, I will click here and enter my file server name, so it's srv02. Go to the software share, GIMP folder, and select the MSI file. Here I will select Advanced and OK. Then I will go to Deployment tab, Advanced, and here I will select Ignore language when deploying this package, because I want to deploy this package to all of my computers, no matter what system language they have. Then I will click OK and OK. And we are done creating our policy, so I will close this window. Then I will select details here, and for GPO status, from enabled, I will switch it to user configuration settings disabled, because currently this policy only has computer configuration in it. And I will leave all other settings on default. Now, after creating the policy, we need to assign it to an organization unit that is holding the computers on which we want to install the software. And in my case, the organization unit will be this one, domain computers 1. And to assign the policy, I will click on the policy and then hold and then drag and drop it on the organization unit. I will click OK here, and as you can see, the policy appeared here, and also we can see it in the list here. Now, after assigning this policy, I will go to one of my client computers and let's see how this policy works. And I will go to one of the client machines that is located in this organization unit. And it's this client 01 that I have here. And here we only need to update our group policy. So for that, I will go to the start menu. I will type in CMD. I will open it without administrative privileges, and I will type GP update. And as you can see, group policy update was successful, and here we get an informational message saying that it detected a software installation package and that the computer needs a reboot for the software installation to happen. So to reboot the computer, I will type shutdown -R-T here and press enter. And now let's see what's going to happen. And here we see that the software installation package is currently being installed, so we need to wait a bit more. And it seems that the installation is done, so now I will sign back into the user account. Then I will go to the start menu, all apps, and somewhere here we should see our GIMP software installed. Here it is. I will click on it. And it seems that software installation using group policy for this computer was successful. And that's basically it for deploying software using group policy for the computers. And now let's create another policy, this time for our users, and allow them to install the software whenever they like. And for that, I will go back to my server. I will right click on group policy objects and select new. This time I will name the policy publish GIMP and click OK. Then I will select the policy, then I will right click it and select edit. And because this policy is for our users, we need to go user configuration, Policy, software settings, and software installation. I will right click here, go to new and select package. Once again, make sure that you're selecting a file that is located in a network share, and this one is, so I will double click on it, then I will select advanced and OK. Here I will go to the deployment tab, and for installation user interface options, I will select basic because I don't want to allow my users to select anything during the software installation. Then I will click OK and we're done creating our policy, so I will close this window. This time for GPO status, I will select computer configuration settings disabled because this policy currently has only user settings in it. And I will leave all other settings on default. Now we want to assign this policy to an organization unit that holds users to whom we want to give access to install the software. In my case, the organization unit will be this one, the main users. So to assign the policy, I will click and hold on the policy and then drag and drop it on the organization unit. As you can see here, it appeared here and also here. And now let's test it, and for that I will go to my other client machine that I have here. And here I have this desktop shortcut right here that allows me to install the software from the network. But as you can see, currently the software list is empty, and to fill in the list, we need to update our policy. And for that, I will go to Start menu, I will type CMD, and I will open command line without administrative privileges. Then I will type GP update and press enter. And the group policy update was successful, so now if I go to the software list, right click and click refresh, you can see that now I have this software installation package, and I will double click to start the installation. And the installation seems to be successful, so now I will click OK here, go to the start menu, all apps, and let's search for GIMP, and here it is. I will click on it. And it also seems to be working just fine. And that's it for deploying GIMP using group policy for our domain users and computers. In the future videos, I will show you how to deploy GIMP using other software deployment tools. So like and subscribe if you want to see that, and see you in the next one.